Hey guys, we're talking about moving into a market where it's not about marketing, it's more about effective communication, where the winning agents are having conversations that are moving the needle with their clients.
So we were recently listening to something and it was talking about, the market's changed. So we have to have different conversations. Our conversations have to change. So what does that mean? And we talked a little bit about this, I think was a couple of weeks ago, where we really have to be the real estate advisors now to our clients.
Yeah.
So being an advisor means being an effective communicator and being educated on what's going on.
Yeah.
And really being able to present that and have those conversations and make those people, your clients, understand that you're helping them move in the right direction.
Well, it makes a lot of sense because in 2021 and previous markets, you have a lot less friction, right? You want to buy a house, the rates were there was inventory, you're a seller, stuff's moving, you're getting the price you're asking for, and now you have this gridlock of buyers, what can I afford? I'm scared because there's wars and there's news and rumors of wars and interest rates on the rise, and the sellers now are still kind of stuck in this, I get whatever I want for my house. So you have this little gap and this vacuum to be filled in the market. So how do you bring that together, effective communication, and frame it the right way to really address the customer's need and motivate them based on that need?
Well, and I think too, like you said, we're seeing a lot more, there's more inventory on the market. So buyers have more time to make their options. They have more time to back out if something else comes up on the market that they like better, which we've seen happen. Sellers don't realize that time on market has lasted. It's gone up. So we have to demonstrate that, hey, time on market. So instead of us chasing the market down with our price, let's have a price strategy. And so that's one of the things too that's in there. So it's really having those effective communication conversations up front and being up front. And that's how you win at the listing table.
I think effective marketing brought in deals, and today effective communication is the shift. So with three pertinent conversations come to mind, right? The price reality conversation. So I think this is where we're kind of bringing the sellers down to earth a little bit and letting them know where the movement and the pulse of the market is, and price accordingly and have a strategy to achieve a value instead of just putting it as high as possible and hoping for the best.
Well, that's what you just said, price strategy, right? And I feel like most of us, we need to go in with a strategy on everything. So right now, since we are seeing this data, and that's everything points back to the data, right? Because if we can point back to the data, that allows us to guide the conversation based off numbers and not based off emotions. Because if we're trying to base it off emotions, well, obviously, I'm going to agree with my seller. Your house is amazing. We should get you the top dollar for your home. We should price it on the moon and see what we can get for it. Let's throw spaghetti.
My pool is so much bigger than everybody else's.
Yeah. I have a mermaid in my pool. Come on. Do you not see the mosaic on the bottom? Doesn't that at least make it another 100,000? At least.
Right. Yeah.
So having that price strategy conversation and price reality up front and saying, hey, we want to price ourselves. Let's look at the comps. So let's look at what's pending right now. Let's look at what is currently in escrow and what is right now happening. What's active? What is going to be we're going up against? What's our competition? And then what's recently just sold. I think those are kind of the three most important.
When you're seeing market times, right, are up, and then you can see the percentage of sold to asking is coming down. You're talking, 99% sold to asking price in previous markets. Now it's down 90%, 89%. Point that out to the seller. Say, hey, we can be for sale, but if we want to be sold, here's where we need to be. This is the current of the market, meaning that it's moving. And that having that talk up front with them, because it may be that a short-term rental is in their future or it may be that it's just not the right time to move. What is the motivation, which leads us into the second conversation, right?
Yeah.
What are we basing this decision to sell or buy on?
Right. So the second conversation that we're seeing a lot of success with, and we've actually talked to a lot of our agents, and they're like, yeah, this is actually a conversation I'm having a lot with my clients is we might be in a 3% interest rate and we're sitting pretty, we're good. But if we're in a condo or we're in a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom home here and we got 3 kids, that interest rate is not going to be fitting our lifestyle needs. Our financial needs, no matter depending on what our lifestyle is.
Exactly.
So that move up buyer conversation, as well as like, the silver tsunami and the downsizers, but that strong conversation right now, because when people say, well, I have a 3% interest rate, like I really don't know if I can make this move happen. And it's like,
yeah, but we had inflation in 2022. I think it was May, June. And we're going on 4 years. We're at 4 years of people saying, I have this low interest rate that I'm married to. And I get it. But when your square footage or your home no longer fits the lifestyle, there's other issues and stressors on life that are popping up. Like shoehorning 4 kids into, 1,700 square feet or whatever, right? And so 1,300 square feet. And so now those things are really identifying what's the need and the ability to refinance later to get the better monthly payment. Or
there's so many different loan programs out there.
Yeah.
There's so many programs now.
So getting and really getting to the nitty gritty of what's the motivating factor here. Like you may need lifestyle wise for schools, for a number of people under the roof, for all the reasons people need a bigger house, and identify those and then find the pathway from there. Once you've got the motivation identified, let's find the pathway. And it may be a little bit of a harder trail for sure, an uphill trail in this market to find the exact right house for them, but they're out there.
Yeah.
And the good news is there's plenty of them out there right now in terms of inventory.
Exactly. So having that conversation of like, hey, is your house meeting your financial needs or is it meeting your lifestyle needs?
Right.
Because
it's critical.
It has to meet both, right? Like it's like you said, we cannot have these kids, or if we're getting married and we're in a studio, that's probably not going to last very long together. Like you're probably going to look at wanting to buy a condo or moving into a single family together. So having those lifestyle conversations have really been that trigger to make people go, you know what, that 3% really is not that much to hold on to anymore now, and I can let that go to be able to meet my new lifestyle changes that things have changed.
And it requires getting out of self on our part as a salespeople to our agents, the agents to their customers, and identifying and really sitting in and thinking about what are the needs of this client, and how can I meet their needs,
right?
Which is switching from like savvy, slick marketing to real conversing and real communications. And look, this is not a time to hide in this market. This is a time to double down on communicating and being findable and being visible and having these talks day in, day out with it, because that's how you're going to root out the need and then the deal.
Absolutely. So going into that third conversation, exactly. So going from the price reality conversation, the move up buyers, or just kind of lifestyle changes conversations, because we could go on for different lifestyle needs.
For sure.
And then, going into still your database and having that gold mine conversation of, hey, has anybody taken the time to go show you where your home equity is at and what that position puts you in, and calling through your sphere of influence, your past clients, your farm areas, those
and the landlords around town.
Absentee owners
farm
have been huge.
Because a lot of them are fed up with legislation in California and how their disregard for the landlord as a business owner and how difficult it is with tenants and tenants' rights. There's a lot of motivation for a landlord to sell their property.
Not even to mention like insurance, I think went up to, I can't remember the exact percentage. I am not an homeowner insurance person, but it went up for rental properties. So people now that have these rental properties, their homeowner insurance has also gone up. So there's so much more cost going into it on top of legislation where a lot of these absentee owners are like, just be done with it.
Well, it used to be really good business to be a landlord and have a bunch of units in California, and it's still good business, but it's diminished with the hardship and the friction and uphill battle with being a landlord and collecting rents and dealing with tenants and all that. So when you go through and talk to your relationship database, your past client database, your social media connections, people that you're on the other side of trust with, right? Your farm who knows, likes, and trusts you that you've been communicating with, and have these real talks about what their motives. What are you going to find? You're going to find humanity. You're going to find divorce. You're going to find death. You're going to find people made partner and want to move to the big house. You're going to find everything under the sun that happened with humans, because they're your little subset of humans that is your relationships.
Right.
So we have to, it's a gold mine. And so many of the realtors we talk to and so many salespeople and humans in general disregard or just kind of neglect the prime gold mine in their life of relationships.
You know, we talk to a lot of agents, and we talk to them pretty much regularly on the daily. On the daily. And a lot of times we hear a lot of agents, they're always going after for what's the new lead source? Where can I find new leads? Where can I get new business? And what's our first question we always ask? What was the last time what did you last communicate with your sphere?
Yeah.
When was the last time you had a real conversation with them? When was the last time you called them?
Well, I like that. The way Tom Ferry puts it is like, how many of your sphere of influence past clients have you talked to in the last 90 days? Like real talk, how many? And that's a tough question for many to answer. And so when you're constantly doing that, there's a lot of trust, and you're the realtor or we're the title people that they're waiting to hear from. And sometimes we're not reaching out. And so if we don't take our narrative, excuse me, and our service and plant it in their mind, somebody else is,
Absolutely.
right? Or there's a billboard, or there's a commercial, or what have you. But you're the one they're waiting for, and you're not communicating. If that's the case, that's easily fixed by picking up the phone and having these conversations and real talk about where the market's at, and educating them.
Yeah, and telling them where the price is at, where their home equity has changed, if it's gone down, if they've taken out a second, what does that mean? What structure does that put them at? And having, like, we got going all the way back to 20 minutes ago when we started this, being the advisor, because sometimes the advisor doesn't always give them the news that they're looking to hear or what they want to hear, right? They have to give them what is best and what is going to be the best scenario for the long term. We've also talked to a lot of clients this year who've talked to a lot of sellers of people that want to sell, and it doesn't make sense for them. And they're advising them, hey, this is not going to be a good move for you. There's no reason for you to sell. Like, what's the motivation? What's the reason? And if it's not there, if you're not netting anything and we're priced too high and the interest, there's no reason for you to sell.
Well, you know, there's a couple ancillary benefits from having these real discussions with your relationships. Is there are other people in their world that we're not privy to that they are, and there's an uncle that might be going through divorce, or there's another cousin that maybe lost their job, or it stirs up referrals. And the other thing is there's the notion of being kind versus being nice, right? I mean, I can be nice and tell you what you want to hear, or I can be kind, truly kind, and tell you the truth, right? And take the leadership position as your real estate professional in your life and guide you through that process. People want to be guided. They need to be led.
Oh, absolutely.
And so we need to establish ourselves as the authority and have these real talks.
Well, and I love what you said too. It's about selling through them, not to them, right? Because they don't know you don't know who they have, who in their world's thinking about it, who they have life changes going on, who they're going to need to move up, move down, move cross to the country, who knows, but they have so many other people in their life too. So it's always about selling through them, not to them. And that's why we always talk to our clients all the time and say, hey, what other agents do you know that could use our services, that could use our help? Because we have great relationships with our agents. We're not trying to sell them. We're not selling them. We're trying to get who they know, because they work with a lot of other agents, and they're really chummy with a lot of other agents, and we get a lot of referrals that way. So it's the same kind of concept.
Exactly. So that's what we have in this market that's on the move. Like, the only constant is change, and it's a little too exciting around here sometimes for us, but we're sticking with it, and double down on your outreach, double down on your communication, and have these real talks with your people. And it's funny, when cause and effect, action, reaction, when you have these types of talks, it stirs the pot and referrals come flying.
Yeah, and we're saying right now too, like, the thing on the tagline was like, the market's not harder, it's just changed.
That's right.
So our conversations just have to change.
Yeah.
And that's it.
We just pivot, we make the adjustment, and we'll find the deals that are out there to be had.
Exactly. So until next time, I'm Haley.
And I'm Ryan.
Bye.
Bye.